And the numbers on Mussini, won his first 7 starts of the year. As Brett Boone said in the opening, a fastball change and a knuckle curve you cannot think with Mussini. He's very shrewd on the mound, and primarily because he controls both sides of the plate, inside and outside.
First pitch of the ALCS is to Todd Walker. Strike 1 on the outside corner. It'll be Walker, then Miller, then Garciaparra. We'll give you the rest of the batting order in just a second, as the Red Sox try to fill in for the injured Johnny Damon. There's Johnny with a little mouse over that right eye. He is, according to Grady Little, out for the first 2 games of this series. Ball 1.
True to form, 3 pitches, outside, inside off the plate, just misses away.
He's got no pattern. I mean, like you said, you can't guess with him.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Inside to Walker, and he chops it foul. Obviously, when you lose a guy like Johnny Damon, you are taking away an element that the Red Sox really can't replace. I mean, this is a team that is a plodding team. They are a team that pounds the baseball. But as far as a speed element, getting on and making things happen, Damon is the one and only guy that can do that. Soriano. Wow. Take a look at the rest of the lineup for the Boston Red Sox. Brought to you by State Farm. We know about Todd Walker. How about Bill Miller, who's coming up? Nomar Garciaparra hits third and short. Then it's Ramirez, Ortiz, and Millar with Nixon, Mirabelli, and Kepler. And this was a record-setting offense for the Boston Red Sox during the regular season. They barely scratched out enough in the division series against Oakland to advance to take on the Yankees. Here's Bill Miller. Batting champ takes the ball down and in. And there are the numbers against Oakland. This group hit only .211. So you're not going to see any averages or any big run production that'll knock you over, statistically speaking, for the Red Sox in what they did against A's pitching. The Yankees pitching in their division series against Minnesota was tremendous. 2 up, 2 down. And with the bases empty, let's check in. Cast of thousands for this game. Here's Kenny Albert.
Well, Joe, I spoke to Johnny Damon just before the game, as you mentioned, targeting a possible return on Saturday in Game 3. He told me he remembers waving to the crowd in Oakland on Monday following the collision, but he said he thought he was standing up, walking off the field, not lying on a stretcher. It's also not his first career concussion. He was a free safety in high school. A tight end by the name of Warren Sapp came across the middle. That was career concussion number 1. Joe?
Kenny, thanks.
Wow.
Well, that was a frightening collision, to say the least, and it's just good to see Johnny Damon up, walking around, and even talking about potentially playing over the weekend in Boston.
Yeah, Warren Sapp, a lot bigger than Damian Jackson, but Damian Jackson with that leverage, hitting Damon on the right side of the forehead, close to the temple. A frightening sight on Monday.
I'll tell you what, I know what that feeling is, though, when it's as loud as it is, you just can't hear your outfielder, you know, and I think Jackson said after the game, he said, I wasn't going to let that ball drop. And I know that feeling. But it's easier with me and Ichiro. He's, you know, we understand each other.
No, good. Yeah. No communication barriers whatsoever. With 2 out, nobody on, it's a 1-1 pitch to Garciaparra. High fastball for strike 2. And this crowd will get to its feet looking for a perfect first inning.
Blowing the fastball by Garciaparra right around the letters.
That's backing out of play. Garciaparra in his career in the postseason is hitting .358. Trying to get on in front of Manny Ramirez. who had one huge swing of the bat in the division series against the A's. Two and two.
Talk about a smart matchup. Nomar Garciaparra, the valedictorian at St. Bosco High. And Mike Mussina finished Stanford in 3 years. Two smart guys facing one another right here.
I finished SC in 3 years, but I don't have any paper.
Here's a 2-2 with 2 out. A little low, full count. And again, I just give the disclaimer here in the first inning with Tim McClellan behind the plate. I'm guessing along with you at home. Strike calls are a little tardy. 3 balls, 2 strikes. To the right side, Posada, and it'll stay 3-2 on Garciaparra. What about as a hitter, Brett? You can't take that long down there on the field for you to know if it's a strike or a ball.
No, Timmy, you know, he gives that illusion up here to everybody that's not in the batter's box that he's calling it late, but he'll let you know. He'll let the catcher know, he'll let the hitter know as soon as the ball crosses the plate quietly, and then he'll make his call. It's just his style.
Talk about tough to hear. You can't be too quiet in here and be heard. 3-2 pitch to Nomar. Pitch was up. Garciaparra pops it up, and it is a perfect first for Mike Mussina.
Dear Commissioner,
Tim Wakefield will be floating that knuckleball to the plate here tonight in the Bronx. The starting lineup for the New York Yankees brought to you by State Farm. As you look at the numbers for Tim Wakefield, 4.09 ERA, 11 wins. Got into 2 games in the division series, and here is that lineup. Soriano will lead it off. Then Derek Jeter batting second. Giambi is the DH. Bernie Williams cleans up. Had a good division series. Posada, Matsui. Aaron Boone is at third base. Nick Johnson at first. Juan Rivera all of a sudden is a guy that Joe Torre wants to count on in right field. He's batting ninth.
In lieu of a scouting report, we decided to give you a quote tonight that's pretty easy to remember. Hitting that thing, the knuckleball, is like trying to catch a butterfly with a pair of tweezers.
Said by a wise ancient man. That's inside for ball 1. That's too far inside. Soriano is leading off, 7 out of 19 in that division series against Twins pitching. You hear all kinds of theories about how best to try and figure out where the ball is going to end up. And one thing I hear, a theme that runs throughout just about every dugout when you talk to guys, is moving up in the batter's box against a knuckleball pitcher.
I think that's true. I think it's like a left-handed changeup. You know, Tommy Glavine in the mid-90s. I mean, when he was just at his absolute best. It's the same as knuckleball. You got to get in front of the box and catch it before it breaks.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Soriano leading off, and it's high, 2-2.
And that still doesn't always work, by the way, if you were wondering.
I was wondering.
Well, that last one was a dangerous knuckleball. That's a ball right around the shoulders.
2-2. Popped up. Right side and easy for Nixon. 1 away. Leadoff man is gone. Jeter coming up, and again we check in with Kenny Albert.
Joe, after the top of the first, Yankee catcher Jorge Posada made a beeline for the grounds crew tunnel. The area behind home plate was uneven following player introductions. Grounds crew brought out the rakes and took care of it. Joe.
Kenny, it might have been Challenger, that beautiful bald eagle that came swooping in and I think was a little off course. Scared the heck out of the guy stepping to the plate, Derek Jeter, who bats with 1 out and nobody on. Nutters popped up to the right side, and it's Walker. 2 out. Back in the pregame just moments ago. Derek Jeter and Soriano had the life scared out of him before the start of this game. That is one huge eagle. What are you saying, Tim? The wingspan on that thing was 3 players wide.
Yeah. From Soriano to Giambi.
Soriano's flied out. Jeter's popped up. And Giambi takes ball 1. Jason hit .250 during the regular season, 41 home runs. There's a strike. During the regular season, however, Giambi hit only .194 against the Red Sox. The entire left side of the infield almost is wide open with Giambi at the plate. It's the third baseman, Miller. It's almost playing up the middle like a shortstop might.
American League teams do this with Giambi, even with the fastball pitcher, but particularly with the knuckleball, slower ball.
And right into the defense. Giambi grounds out to Walker. So a perfect first inning. Popcorn and a good seat with Manny Ramirez digging in right in front of him. It'll be Ramirez, David Ortiz, and Kevin Millar for the Red Sox. Each side went in order in the first. And that's a little low and away for ball 1 to Ramirez. Manny Ramirez had only 4 hits in that division series. He had 3 RBIs, which all came on 1 swing. And it gave the Red Sox just enough in Game 5 in Oakland to advance. That sliced down the right field line and foul for strike 1. And then all anybody wanted to talk about after the home run wasn't so much him hitting it, but the way that he reacted to it. I'll ask you, Tim McCarver, did that upset your night? Did that give you a bad stomach watching that?
Well, I mean, it's part of baseball right now. That's what a lot of home run hitters do. They admire what they just hit instead of running hard out of the box. It's not appropriate, but that's the way it is.
One hot shot to Jeter. And the leadoff man is gone here in the second inning. I shall do, and I'll ask you. It's kind of a big question. It's a big picture thing. Are dynasties good for baseball? Booney?
If you're playing for one.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
If you're a Red Sox fan, no.
That's right. That's right.
Haven't won since 1918. If you're a Yankees fan, of course.
It's the best.
Are we looking at a dynasty with this New York Yankees team? I mean, here's a team that
I think it's a pretty good argument.
Since Joe Torre got here in 1996, his 8th year now, they've won 4 World Series. I mean, this is a group that when the schedule comes out in February, you mark down as a team that you expect to see in the postseason. The 1-0 pitch to Ortiz is high for ball 2.
Well, I think people don't realize how hard it is to win and win the whole thing. And these guys have done it in the last 6-7 years, have won 4 rings. I've been on some very, very good teams, and I've been lucky enough to go to 1 World Series and ended up losing to the dynasty. So it's tough, but that's what you play for.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Ortiz takes it on the outside corner, 2-1.
What do dynasties do? They go out and try to get every player they can. George Steinbrenner telling Brian Cashman back in May, or actually last winter, that this guy Ortiz, we need this guy Ortiz. And Brian said, look, we've got Nick Johnson, Jason Giambi at first base. Where are you going to play him? Brian Cashman confirming that comment by the owner of the Yankees, the general partner of the Yankees, George Steinbrenner.
And if you talk to Joe Torre, he'll tell you the difference with this Boston team down the stretch is the guy at the plate, David Ortiz. He said he went from being a guy that would flare hits up the middle, flare hits into left field, to being a serious power threat. Hit 31 home runs during the regular season, and he takes low, ball 3.
In limited at bats too. He's been he was unbelievable. He beat us pretty good. They swept us in Boston, and he was a big reason. He kept it going. I mean, he's been their probably most valuable player in the second half of the season.
0 for 20, however, against the man on the mound, Mike Mussina. 1 out, bases empty here in the second with no score, and that's a 1-out walk. 1 on, 1 out. Millar coming up from New York to Los Angeles. Jeannie with a game break.
The NLCS underway in Chicago. Mark Pryor faced 5 batters top 1, but when it mattered with 2 on and 2 out, he found his groove. Ask Miguel Cabrera. No score at Wrigley.
And the Marlins with that win last night. And you consider what they accomplished last night by coming off the deck down 4-0 before they could even blink. They come back. They blow a lead. They blow another lead. They come back. The Cubs get that emotional home run from Sosa. And they still end up winning on a Mike Lowell home run. And when you've got to face Pryor twice and Wood twice coming up, that's a game that if you're the Marlins, you've got to win.
Without a doubt. I think it's back to a couple years ago when it was Randy and Schilling. I mean, those are 2 horses.
1 on, 1 out. 1-0 pitch is inside. It's 2-0. We talked about how this postseason will wear you out if you're watching every pitch. 14 of the 19 games decided by 2 runs or less. 4 extra inning games. 3 of the 4 division series won by the quote-unquote underdog. And then everything that happened in that Marlins-Giants series, which every time you watched for 10 minutes, something crazy happened. And you could say a lot of the same things about the Boston-Oakland series.
One thing I don't think you could say about the Boston-Oakland series is that Boston was an underdog to Oakland. And if they were, only slightly. The Yankees, favored by a ton over Minnesota, played their worst game of postseason under Joe Torre that first game, and then just blew the Twins out of the tank. One game here at Yankee Stadium, the other 2 at the Metrodome in Minneapolis.
It's 3 balls and a strike on Millar after a walk to Ortiz. Cena, not typically a guy that you have to worry about control. Come in a matchup like this and you think that about Wakefield. Cena's a guy who walked only 40 during the regular season.
Less than 2 per 9 innings, 4th in the American League. Good hitting count for Millar.
And he floats one into left field. Coming to get it, Matsui. Nice catch. Ortiz scampers back to first with 2 out.
I think the reason Mike his walk total is so low, he's got that ability to throw the ball just out of the hitting zone, but to the hitter it looks like a good pitch to hit. And there's not too many guys that have that ability. You know, 2-0, he'll throw you a pitch just out of the zone. You think it's right down the middle coming out of his hands. The next thing you know, you're fouling it back. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
There also are not that many right-handed pitchers who have a better percentage getting out left-handed hitters than they do right-handers. Right-handers hitting .247 against Messina and left-handers .230. The reason for that, the knuckle curveball.
He'll cut the ball in on the lefty's hands too.
Running in off the plate. We've seen him do it a couple of times.
He's changed. I mean, he's changed over the years. He's come up with, you know, he's making an adjustment. Later in his career, he's going to different pitches, and he's throwing a changeup. Now he's throwing a split.
He has a left-hander at the plate now in Trot Nixon. Hit that game-winning home run in extra innings in Game 3 of the division series. Back at Fenway Park. 1 ball, no strikes. Runner at first, 2 out, and Messina falls behind Nixon 2-0. Been behind the last 3 hitters. He walked Ortiz, got Millar on a 3-1 pitch, and now has to find the strike zone with a 2-0 count on Trot Nixon. Don't know if that would have been a strike, but with Posada having trouble catching it, no chance, and it's 3-0.
Yeah, usually pitchers will not get this as a strike, even though it was low anyway. I think you got to turn Nixon loose right here. A .314 porch down the right field line. A lot of people don't talk about it, but right field at Yankee Stadium, the ball just shoots out of this ballpark.
2 wide and 2 walks in the inning. So 2 on with 2 out and the backup catcher. And he is a backup catcher because of the playing time that Varitek gets. Doug Mirabelli walks in. It was 2 for 4 in this postseason and hit .258 during the regular year.
You hear a lot about the Green Monster in Boston. What you don't hear a lot about is the Blue Monster here at Yankee Stadium. It used to be .296 down the right field line.
I think it still is.
Do you?
Yeah.
With 2 on 2 out.
It's a great place to play.
Ortiz, the lead runner at second, does not have good speed. Calf injury has slowed down Nixon. He's the runner at first. Mirabelli could put Boston out in front here in the second. Up and away, 2-0. Eleven of the last 13 pitches that Messina's thrown have been outside the strike zone. Mirabelli will be looking to crush a 2-0 pitch, and it's outside. 3-0.
I think Mel Stottlemyre asking Joe Torre where that pitch was. That's the one thing you can't see from the dugout, whether the pitch is outside or inside. You can determine height. That ball was outside.
Now a 3-0. 3 balls and a strike.
A lot of times from the side view, what the manager's looking for, a coach is looking for, is where his catcher sets up. If he hits the glove, you know, he might be sitting just off the plate. But they're looking where he catches the ball and assumes it's a strike.
Messina's pitch running back, hitting the inside part. Now a 3-1. Full count. The runners will take off on this 3-2 pitch.
And that's important for the Red Sox because both runners are slow. Ortiz at second base and Nixon at first. Perhaps the only way they'd score on a ball hit sharply to the outfield.
Easy back to Messina. And after a little bout with wildness, Messina able to come back, get Mirabelli, and end the top of the second. 2 left for Boston. Williams, Posada, Matsui coming up for New York. Here in New York, we move to the Bronx and Yankee Stadium. Place it was built in 1923. As Bernie Williams leans back from strike 1. Now the Boston Red Sox, because they had to play a team across the country in Oakland in the division series, went Boston to Oakland, Oakland to Boston, Boston to Oakland, and then Oakland back to Boston leading into this series. There's no truth to the rumor that they flew Wakefield through Des Moines just to make sure he was extra tired so he didn't overthrow that knuckleball. He is trying to make that thing dance, dart, dive, jump, flip, roll over, whatever it is. And I would imagine, guys, it's a surprise somewhat for Wakefield where the ball ends up after he lets it go.
Well, the one thing he tries to do is to keep the wrist stiff and the elbow stiff.
Shallow left field. Manny Ramirez goes to get it, and the leadoff man is gone here in the second. Posada coming up. Let's go back to Jeannie at the Fox Network Center.
And in Chicago, Randall Simon says, I can make contact with other things besides hot dogs. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The single sends home Mark Grudzielanek, sends home Sammy Sosa. It's the end of the first. 2-0 Cubs.
So the Cubs say, there you go, Mark Pryor. There are your 2 runs. Go get them.
Wasn't it a sausage, not a hot dog?
How about that? Yeah, that was. It was the Italian sausage.
Yeah.
And Randall Simon gets the base hit to put Chicago on top. Look at these guys diving out of the way of strikes.
It's interesting to note that all pitchers will use the seams for leverage, whether it's a fastball or curveball or a slider, even a changeup. But even knuckleball pitchers, you tell with Tim Wakefield, And there's that stiff release. The knuckleball really is a misnomer. You use the fingertips to push the ball toward home plate. Most of the time, you don't throw it, you push it up there.
That stayed up, and Posada hopped on it and gets a 1-out base hit to right.
And Joe, you're talking about fatigue and Tim Wakefield as Posada gets the first hit of the game. You're talking about fatigue. Rarely will a manager take a knuckleballer out of a game because he's tired. It's only because he's ineffective, because they could throw all day. Wilbur Wood 30 years ago started a doubleheader for the Chicago White Sox.
Both games.
Both games. Yes, sir.
1 on, 1 out for Matsui. Hideki Matsui, who hit that Game 3 home run for the Yankees. A big shot in their win that afternoon at the Metrodome. Takes a strike.
For a knuckleballer, a pitch count of 150 is not a problem. Unless it's in the first inning. There are a lot of guys. It says unknown, but there are
who is
a lot of pitching coaches that have said that.
Blowing away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now I know the first one we didn't put the answer to who that was, but I have a feeling. Do you know who said that second one, or is that just?
I do not. No, unknown. It's like anonymous.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Might have been taken off a gravestone someplace. Who knows?
Here's another one. Very literary friendly broadcast we have for you. It's like a butterfly with hiccups. Willie Stargell. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 on, 1 out, and that's 2 wide, 2-1.
One thing you have to do, whether you catch it or hit it, that was a curveball right there. First curveball of the game by Wakefield. Look for that knuckleball. The one thing you have to do if you catch it, you have to wait. And if you hit it, you have to wait for it to develop.
Well, he'll throw that curveball when he gets behind in the count and needs to throw a strike. Sometimes instead of throwing the fastball, he'll throw that curveball. I think he feels like he has a little more control of it.
He's 3-1 on Matsui. Runner goes. And a tap foul right at home plate. So the Yankees, and that was really something that we talked about a lot with Joe Torre when he first came to New York back in 1996. Starting runners, a more National League style game, and against the knuckleballer, Torre sent Posada on that 3-1 pitch.
It was probably the first fastball he's thrown tonight, right there. I don't think Matsui is looking for the fastball.
He won't get it here either.
No.
Runner goes on 3-2, and another tap foul.
Doug Mirabelli had 13 passed balls this year. He caught all but 2 innings of Wakefield's 202 1/3 innings. Regular catcher of the Red Sox, as everybody knows, Jason Varitek. He had a terrific year, and in large part responsible for the Red Sox being here tonight. For that play made in Game 3, blocking off Eric Burns of Oakland, blocking him off a home plate.
And really just what he does all year. I mean,
does.
He is back there night after night after night. He is a leader on this team. Runner goes, and another foul by Matsui. And there are certain guys you can look at, and you can know from a distance that his teammates respect what he does. And Varitek is a guy that you know is in that category. And when you talk to his teammates, they verify that. Nomar did not shave his head. Johnny Damon did not shave his head. Other than that, everybody for this Boston team, good luck, solidarity, all shaved their head.
Grady Little.
Grady Little.
Yeah.
It's an appropriate night for the bald eagle to open the festivities.
And there's that. Here's a 3-2 again. Matsui dumps a base hit into left field. And Posada will hold at second, 2 on, 1 out.
Jorge Posada is not a good base runner. When you're running on this count right here with 1 out against Manny Ramirez, in my view, you got to try to take third base. Ramirez is not a good left fielder. You're running with the pitch. By the time the ball gets to Ramirez, he's a little past third base. If you're thrown out at third, in my view, that's a good base running play.
Try to get
the bottom part of the order here.
Including Aaron Boone. Bottom part of the order. The number 7 hitter, 3 out of 15 against Minnesota in the division series. He takes a strike, and he is the brother of the man sitting to my right, Red Boone.
Hey. I don't have too much to say.
That's all right.
I worked
sit back and watch.
I worked with him last night on the knuckleball. Let's see how it does.
2 on, 1 out, no balls, 1 strike. A big rip. It's 0-2.
It's not what I told him.
So it stays 0-2, and that knuckleball stayed up. We've seen a lot of these knuckleballs. If you talk about Wakefield, and it's important to get the ball down, a lot of these knuckleballs have been up, and that is ripped down the left field line, foul. It's still 0-2 on Aaron Boone.
I think Aaron has a hairline fracture in that bat. A lot of times you can't see those little cracks because of the pine tar on the bat. Take that one off the trademark.
No balls, 2 strikes. Wakefield, no strikeouts yet. Tied the first 4 and has given up back-to-back hits to Posada and Matsui. Hard hit and foul down the left field line. Another pitch that was up, and Boone jumped on it.
That was close. If it goes over the bag and hits foul, it's a fair ball. But clearly that ball foul.
Well, if you talk to Tim Wakefield and you say, what are the perfect conditions for the knuckleball when you're on the mound, he'll tell you a little breeze blowing at him. And there is a little breeze down there on the field, more or less blowing across. I've seen a lot of these knuckleballs stay up. That one dives down, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. A 3.35 ERA in his career here at this stadium as Boone hits another foul. Aaron Boone picked up at the trading deadline from Cincinnati. Gabe White, a left-hander, came with him. Gabe White has done so much to impress Joe Torre along with Felix Heredia that Chris Hammond has been left off this ALCS roster. That's popped up. Shallow center, and Kepler comes on. 2 out.
Don Mattingly used to say, the great first baseman of the Yankees used to say that when the bat handle is facing the Yankee dugout, then the ball is, or the wind is blowing toward the dugout, and that's where it's blowing tonight. So there is some wind resistance here at Yankee Stadium.
And in case you were wondering about that low pressure system, which I know you all are, it's somewhere on the East Coast south of here. Or it could be a high pressure system for all I know. The clouds. 2 on, 2 out. And the batter is Nick Johnson as he takes the ball up and away.
As long as those things aren't there.
Timmy, you're Doppler.
He's gone Doppler on.
No, Joe Doppler is our partner.
That's fouled back to the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Anybody who's watching in a bar somewhere with the sound off just saw that somewhere along the East Coast.
I thought he was watching
home.
the Weather Channel.
Yeah, and called home. Honey, did you see that? What's coming our way? Where are you? Why are you watching that game? 1-1 with 2 on 2 out. On the inside corner. So there, it's all clear. Don't do anything to it. Put all clear or something.
No, we are clear. Obviously, no hurricanes in sight.
And really, the weather is absolutely perfect. Our weathermen for this ALCS game 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Nick Johnson with 2 on 2 out. 67 degrees at game time. Full moon. That's all I got on that. Full moon.
It's enough.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Juan Rivera, the number 9 hitter, on deck. 2-2.
Nick Johnson, a very good hitter with 2 strikes. Other than Derek Jeter, there is no Yankee more proficient going the other way with 2 strikes. Derek hits the ball to right field with 2 strikes, and Johnson very good at going to left field with 2 strikes.
Hits it to first. It stays fair somehow, and the inning will come to a close. The ball looked like it was going to go foul, but as you all know, when you hit a knuckleball down the right field line, the first base line. 9-1-2 the hitters for Boston here in the 3rd inning, and a check swing. No swing, and ball 1 as we go back to that ground ball by Johnson, who slipped getting out of the box. And any chance of beating that ball, which had Kevin Millar well behind the bag, went out the window on that. As Kapler lines one into right at Rivera, and the leadoff man is gone here in the 3rd. Let's check in again with Jeannie Zalasko for a game break.
And more from Wrigley. And prior to this scene, Mark Pryor had given up a double, a single, but he got out of trouble with 2 strikeouts and a popper. The Cubbies clinging to the 2-0 lead. I say clinging because look out for those Marlins. Bottom 2.
So they have had chances to score on Pryor in the 1st and 2nd innings. But the more you see of Mark Pryor, the more you just marvel at how good he is. He was big league ready coming out of USC. Spent about 18 seconds in the minor leagues. With 1 out, nobody on, Walker pops it up. That's Bernie Williams, and that's 2 out. Tomorrow, baseball's postseason continues at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox with game 2 of this ALCS. Derek Lowe and Andy Pettit. What a game Pettit pitched in the division series against Minnesota, and Derek Lowe did a little bit of everything for Boston. Friday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, game 3 of the NLCS as they go to Miami. Kerry Wood takes the hill for the Cubs against Mark Redmond. Sports' biggest month of the year continues tomorrow only on Fox. As a strike is poured into Bill Miller.
Cubs and the Marlins going down to South Florida, of course, for game 3. The Marlins drawing 130,000 people for the 2 games played against the San Francisco Giants there.
1 ball, 1 strike.
A series that ended with Pudge Rodriguez making a play at the plate. That's the first time in postseason history that a series has ended with the play at the plate.
Well, when you think of what Pudge Rodriguez has done, as Miller fouls one out of play off to the left, here's a guy who late signs a 1-year deal for $10 million. And if he doesn't go back to the Marlins for some big discount, he has earned himself a huge contract next year. He's right back in the forefront. What he's done with that pitching staff, what he's done at the plate. Real leader on that team. 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
That's if the owners resort to doing what they did prior to last winter. And that was signing guys to a lot of long-term contracts. Last winter, That
is fair down the third base line into left. It kicks out to Matsui. well played, and it's a 2-out single for Bill Miller. Let's go back to Los Angeles. Jeannie Zalesko will be busy. Here she is.
Oh, but it's great. Now, I know you saw it on the screen, and you're wondering now, how in the heck did the Cubs get another run? This is how a good deadline trade will help you out. Kenny Lofton, RBI single up the middle, and the Cubs have a 3-zip lead on 2.
So now with Miller on and 2 out, thanks, Jeannie. Here's Nomar Garciaparra, who fly to center his first time.
A notorious first ball hitter. He swung at more first pitches than any other major leaguer this year.
Hey, come on.
Sorry.
Strike 1. Look at that, huh? Graphically backs you up.
He saw that before.
He did.
Yeah,
he must have.
He's cheated.
I did.
That's why you get out here at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Cheated.
Nobody likes him, Tim, but that's okay if you want to be one. No balls, 1 strike, Garciaparra. That stays inside, 1-1.
That was close. That was one of those pitches that when it crossed the plate, it stayed inside, but Posada caught it in the strike zone.
One and one on deck is Ramirez. Garciaparra trying to turn that 2-out single into something. Strike 2. And this crowd, which has been for the most part quiet here early, will try to crank it up behind Messina here in the 3rd. To third and foul. I know Jeannie's just waiting for the right time to jump back in here, because I see up on the scoreboard it's now 5-0 Chicago. That's what we'll be looking at all night. Well, there's no score here in New York in the top of the 3rd. Still 1-2.
That last pitch was the best swing that any Red Sox has had at Messina tonight. He just misses this pitch.
Good pitch, good location, too.
Messina has yet to pick up a strikeout. Garciaparra trying to drive one, and instead he pops it up. That'll do it for the Red Sox here in the 3rd. There is no score. It's the bottom of the 3rd, and it's the 9 1-2 hitters now for the Yankees. That means Juan Rivera, Alfonso Soriano, and Derek Jeter against the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield, who delivers ball 1. Tim Wakefield was on the 1999 Boston Red Sox, a team that lost to the Yankees in 5 games in the ALCS, as that shattered bat ends up all the way behind Miller at third base and shallow left. And it's 1-1 on Juan Rivera.
So one thing you don't normally see with a knuckleball pitcher, you don't see him break many bats. That one sawed right off the trademark. Talk about Tim Wakefield and pitching against the Yankees. He lost one of those games when the Yankees won it in 1999. They won it in 5.
Here's 1-1. Late swing, strike 2.
The last time Tim Wakefield won a postseason game was back in 1992 when he pitched for Pittsburgh. In fact, he was going to be the MVP of that playoff series until Doug Drabeck, carrying a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th inning, opened the doors for Francisco Cabrera to win it for the Braves.
The Pirates won in that NLCS, only to lose to Atlanta. And just so you know, the MVP of that series became John Smoltz instead of Wakefield after the Cabrera hit to send Atlanta to the World Series. 1 out, nobody on. Soriano, who flies to right, fouls it, strike 1. Wakefield got around 2 hits in the second, and Soriano takes a strike. It's 0-2. No telling how good Alfonso Soriano is going to be. You just wonder if second base is going to be his long-term position. Everybody expects Soriano at some point, and maybe next year, to shift into the outfield.
I think he had to make the transition. Coming up, I think he was a shortstop, and with Derek playing short for the Yankees, there wasn't much room, so they put him over at second. I think he's kind of learning on the job, but offensively, this guy, I was impressed with him his first year, but the last 2 years, he's getting better. This guy's going to be something.
With 1 out, nobody on, no balls, 2 strikes. Soriano took just inside, ball 1. Talked about it before, Tim. Doesn't matter what sport it is. That combination of power and speed is so rare. And he has it. Here's a guy with 38 home runs, 35 stolen bases. And he achieved that same lofty status a year ago.
It's almost as though his speed at second base is wasted. If he were a center fielder, for instance, he has a strong enough throwing arm. And perhaps the Yankees next spring will move him to center and Bernie Williams to left field. There has been talk of that. But at second base, that defensive speed that you see offensively is the wrong position for that.
Here's Todd Walker, who gets it on 1 hop. Wide throw, but Millar able to get his foot back on the bag. 2 up, 2 down, and you look at a guy who is without a doubt a double threat. Only players with 35 or more home runs, 35 or more steals in consecutive seasons. And you look at the greats, Mays, Bonds, and now Soriano. That's it. He's 0 for 2 tonight, and with the bases empty, 2 out, here's Jeter. And there's a pop-up. So the knuckleball is working for Wakefield. And Miller juggles and makes the catch. And Wakefield ends up face down.
Well, Wakefield tried to grab Miller so Mirabelli could make the play. He's trying to pull Miller out of the way and unsuccessful.
And by America Online, look for 9.0 optimized coming this fall. First pitch is a strike from Mike Messina to Manny Ramirez. It's Ramirez, Ortiz, and Millar if anybody gets on Nixon for the Red Sox. Boston has 1 hit. The Yankees have 2. No balls, 2 strikes. It's Messina against Wakefield tonight. Derek Lowe and Andy Pettit tomorrow night, and then game 3 in Boston. Already getting some headlines. Roger Clemens against Pedro Martinez. Same matchup we had back in 1999, and with all the hype, it ended up a 13-1 Boston victory. The only win they got in that ALCS. And 0-2. Foul. Dangerous. Dangerous into those seats down the left side. The count's still 0-2. Ramirez grounded out to short his first time up. And just sticking the bat out. Messina knocks it away, and that is a base hit. Any chance of picking up an out on that play went out the window, and Messina got a glove on it.
Normally, Mike Messina makes this play. He is terrific at fielding his position. And by the time it was deflected towards Soriano, looked like he tried to scoop it over there, Brett.
That's a do or die. You either get it done or you don't. He's just trying to flip it to nick it first. And, that's one of those things where sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't. But it's I don't think he had a chance on that one anyway. I think he was too far down the line.
David Ortiz now with 1 on, nobody out. Ortiz walked his first time. The second, Messina got wild. Walked 2, fell behind every hitter, but got away with it as he hits the outside corner for strike 1. Ortiz 0 for 20 as we showed you his first time up in his career against Messina. During the regular season, this Boston Red Sox team had 26 home runs against Yankee pitching, and Ortiz had 6 of them.
Had 4 in less than 22 hours on that Friday, Saturday. Back in July, Friday night, Saturday afternoon. 4 home runs in less than 24 hours.
Messina has him set up at 0-2.
It's a tough situation for Messina here because American League pitchers try to pitch Ortiz inside to get him out. You don't want to risk that with Johnson holding the runner at first base. Too many mistakes. Posada pointing to his head saying, you've got to, it's 0-2. Don't throw him a strike.
There's one up and in, ball 1.
A lot of times catchers just have little reminders to the pitcher of what the count is. Pitchers are trained to throw the ball in the strike zone, not out of it. 0-2, it's different.
Now a 1-2. Shot again, 2-2.
Going away here.
And Ortiz just got a piece.
Remember the 2 fastballs that missed inside? The reason for that, he wanted to go away to get him out. And Ortiz stays alive. A little cue shot foul.
Boston offense still trying to find that groove they had during the regular season. A 2-2 delivery. That's too wide. It's a full count. So Messina had Ortiz at 0-2. Now the count's full.
Really no reason not to send Ramirez right here. Ramirez looking at first base coach Dallas Williams. Sometimes he'll wink at him if he misses the steal sign. I would suspect he's running here.
He is going, and Ortiz pounds a home run into right. The Red Sox lead 2-0. Upper tank off the bat of Ortiz, who gets his first ever hit against Messina and takes him out of the park. His 7th home run against Yankee pitching this season. Messina got ahead 0-2, trying to make that perfect pitch. Ortiz battled enough. And Ortiz has put the Red Sox on top here in the 4th. Nobody on or out, and Millar takes strike 1.
David Ortiz's wheelhouse. You can see Posada sitting inside, the ball tailing back over the back part of the plate. He hit that ball a ton. Brett, you were saying before the game that the one thing about Messina is he throws few pitches down the heart of the plate.
I mean, you saw that right there. He got a head 0-2. He goes to, then he throws the pitch around the strike zone and didn't throw a strike until he had to. And it was a good job by Ortiz to work the count back to where he got it, 3-2.
On 0-2, Millar strikes out. Messina gets his first strikeout of the night.
Ortiz, a low ball hitter. And does he get all of this one?
That's a good feeling.
I bet it is.
There he is, Timmy, breaking it down for you. Admiring his work, as you said.
Yeah. Like an artist.
Old school.
like an artist looking at an easel.
With one out, the batter is Trot Nixon. And he goes up there ready to rip. Strike one. You've got a little style to you there too, Brett. I mean, it's not like you're not Scott Rowland setting the bat down and sprinting around the bases.
Timmy's been waiting for that one.
I mean, it's about time that we just get it out in the open. I mean, it's been sitting there since the first inning.
And what are you referring to?
Your little bat flip.
Oh, man.
You hit the home run, you flip the bat, and you do your style around the bases.
That evolved, though. That evolved. I've always flipped the bat. I've just added a little.
Yeah, a little flair, a little extra.
Flair, a little flair. You know, I don't mean anything by it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you in a minute after this pitch.
Okay. With one out, nobody on, 1 ball, 1 strike. You know I don't mean anything by it. Nixon grounds a base hit to the right of Soriano. And a good job by Rivera to go over and cut it off. 1 on, 1 out.
It started, for me, it was, pitchers striking me out and pumping their fists and doing a dance on the mound. And I had no problem with it. I didn't get offended by that, but I had a little flip, and I hope they don't get offended.
Yeah, well, you can't blame a guy.
I run, though. I run.
I mean, this is part of the game. This stuff doesn't bother me at all, but I have never stood down in that field trying to get these guys out.
Timmy?
You know, a little flair, a little emotion, a little showboating. I know it upsets a lot of people, but if it's not done a ridiculous amount,
exactly,
big deal.
It's baseball. I think you got to have fun, and today's game is different than it was years ago. Pitchers are pumping their fists. Hitters are hitting home runs and watching them a little bit.
You see a lot more hitters hitting home runs and watching it a lot than you see pitchers pumping their fists.
Now you got
it. All right, here we go.
Got me.
Here we go.
How many pitches? I mean, Derek Lowe did it after the Red Sox clinch the other night, saying that the manager of the Athletics, Ken Maka, said he was a number 3 starter. And Rick Peterson, the pitching coach, and he made what the Athletics said was an obscene gesture to the Oakland dugout. For those in it, not to the dugout, but the guys in it.
Well, I didn't see it. You know, I know Derek a little bit. I played golf with him. He doesn't seem like that type of guy to me. But I did not see the I saw him the strikeout, but then I kind of tuned away, and I heard a lot the next day in the paper. Timmy, speaking of bat flips, you know the home run I remember you hit when you hit the grand slam?
Yeah, when I passed.
If you'd have had a bat flip and walked a little bit, you might not have passed it.
That's a very
That's one more homer
point
for you. One more.
That would happen in 1976 when I passed Gary Maddox of the Phillies.
I was there.
Yes, you were. I remember.
That's blowing away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
For those of you who may not know, Bob Boone, Brett's father, and I were teammates with the Philadelphia Phillies for a lot of years. But perhaps you're right. I have to rethink that. I should have.
Had you styled a little bit.
Styled a little, flipped the bat.
Maybe a twirl.
Yeah, maybe a twirl.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. 2 out. Let's go out to Los Angeles and check in with Jeannie for another game break. What's going on in Wrigley?
You know, this Cubs and Marlins series is supposed to be short on offense and long on pitching. How about another long ball? Aramis Ramirez does the honors. Brad Penny is polished, done for the night. Paul Bacco here with an RBI double. That one off Nate Bump. Look at the bump to the scoreboard. 7-0 Cubs, bottom 3.
Jeannie, thanks. With a runner at first here and 2 out. Messina deals, and that's up and in ball one. One of the effects a lopsided score like that could have at Wrigley, as you look what happened last night, 4-0 early through 2 innings, and the final score was 9-8. But if it stays as lopsided as it is, you could see a guy like Mark Pryor maybe get a little bit more of a break at the end of the ball game. If you're going to bring him back later on in this series, to be that much stronger.
At Wrigley Field, it's got to be very lopsided.
That's true. I'll accept that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna, it's still, he's gonna go as long as his manager thinks he needs to win this game. I mean, it's crunch time now.
Yeah, well, whatever. 1-1 pitch. That's foul outside third. It's just something to think about for later in the game.
Did you whatever me?
I whatevered you.
All right.
Bottom line is,
I'll remember that.
He does that to me all the time.
I thought this was get on Tim inning.
No.
Okay.
4th inning's yours. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 on, 2 out. Two and 2. The word sharp. Would you use it tonight for Mike Messina? He's been a little off.
No. I think walking 2 batters in the 2nd inning is an indication of how off he is tonight. Of course, you can change. I mean, you've got to stay with the pitcher. If he comes out in the first few innings, doesn't have his stuff, you just have to keep being innovative behind the plate.
Two and 2 on Kepler, and didn't look good on that swing. But David Ortiz did on this after a leadoff hit by Manny Ramirez. Ortiz on a 3-2 pitch has put Boston on top in the 4th inning of game 1. Pitch to Giambi is on the outside corner for a strike. Giambi, Williams, and Posada, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for New York. And it's Boston up 2-0 on the Ortiz home run. 1-1. Talk about it now, or should we wait for later? Go through the specifics, or does everybody know about it? Sold here for the 1920 season. The Yankees, from that point on, amassed their 26 World Championships. The Red Sox, in their history, have 5 World Championships, but none since they sold Ruth to the Yankees, all between 1903 and 1918. It's in foul ground, and it's Mirabelli who takes in out number 1. And you look at the division titles, the American League pennants. Red Sox haven't won one since 1986 in that heartbreaking World Series loss to the Mets. And that bottom point, the Red Sox have finished second to the Yankees 13 times. This year they did it again. Since 1938, it's only happened the other way once, and that was in '95 when Boston won the division and the Yankees were the wild card team. The first year of that wild card extra team format. History class is now finished. Brett Boone, you can refocus on the game at hand. The 1-0 pitch is a little bit high. It's 2-0. We as broadcasters, and I say that, Brett, including you, because you've been downgraded to our level.
I didn't like going through your security.
I know. He got
I really
checked.
didn't like it.
Had to show his pass. It was kind of fun. 2-0 pitch is right down the heart. 2-1. You almost feel compelled, Tim, to go through all that stuff, lay it out there, and now it's time.
I told him, I said, don't you know who I am? Aaron Boone's brother. Let me through.
And they continue to rifle through your bag. On 2-1 with 1 out, nobody on, Williams reaches up, pops it into right, and Nixon is there for out number 2.
Before this game, I did not know which way Bernie Williams, a switch hitter, would hit against Tim Wakefield, because 13 at-bats prior to tonight, he's batted right-handed against Wakefield. A high knuckler That's a real floater. Williams doesn't get enough of it to get it out of here. But many times he has come up to the plate right-handed against a knuckleballer. Some guys do that.
With 2 out, nobody on. Posada, another switch hitter, batting left-handed, takes the ball.
Everett does that. Carl Everett.
Carl Everett, yep.
He does it too against Jamie Moore. It's left-handed.
A 1-0 pitch. Just wide, 2-0. Matsui on deck. Base is empty here in the 4th inning for the Yankees. To the shortstop. That's Garcia-Parra. Soft line drive, and that'll do it for the Yankees in the 4th. The Boston Red Sox carry a 2-run lead into the 5th inning of Game 1. Back after this from your local Fox station.
Get it now.
Fan is trying to do tonight after the game.
So far, it's 2-0 Boston as we go to the 5th. Top of the order for the Red Sox as Todd Walker takes a pitch low. 4-1. This Boston lineup, they had 8 players with 80 or more RBIs this season, and that is a modern major league record. They say modern, they say 1900 on. That's over but low, and the count's 2-0.
It's only the 2nd time this year that Todd Walker has hit in the leadoff spot. Johnny Damon has occupied that spot, and as we said in our opener, Damon will not be back until at least Saturday.
So can you just clarify it for us? Grady Little, the manager of the Red Sox, has said, yeah, that's real easy. He has no chance of playing in these 2 games, and we'll see about Saturday. But he's still groggy. Walker reaches out and pokes one down the right field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It is a foul ball. A foul ball called by Angel Hernandez, the right field umpire, and it kind of looked like a fan reached around that pole. And now the home plate umpire, Tim McClellan, is overruled and called it a home run. It's 3-0. And now Joe Torre will argue.
The question in my mind is, how can the home plate umpire overrule when the first base umpire can't do that?
Or the right field umpire.
Well, the right field umpire called it foul. So the first base umpire is the closest, the next closest. That's Angel Hernandez, the right field umpire, and now he's going to talk to the home plate umpire, Tim McClellan. As Terry Kraft, the first base umpire, the 3 of them convene.
Well, again, you've got 3 guys standing down that line. The right field umpire, Angel Hernandez, called it a foul ball. And as Tim said, the first base umpire, Terry Kraft, didn't overrule it. It was the home plate umpire, Tim McClellan. And let's look. Oh, it hit the pole.
It hit the foul pole. Absolutely. The fair pole on this.
It definitely hit it.
But a fan, you're right, Joe. A fan did reach over and perhaps pushed it to hit the foul pole. Or deflected it.
There's a guy proud of himself.
But on a cell phone.
It looked like, to me, it looked like the fan missed it and the ball hit off the pole.
Looks like there's a change of direction right there. It appeared that it was.
Looked to me like the change of direction came after it hit the pole.
Perhaps.
So McClellan, the home plate umpire, the crew chief, overruled Angel Hernandez, and it's 3-0.
I actually think, upon further consideration, that the fan may have gotten a coat on it or a hand on it or a piece of clothing.
Miller goes the opposite way. Pretty well hit. Bernie Williams back on the run. What a catch. 1 out. Everybody's been on the center field play of Bernie Williams, especially in the postseason, and that game 1 against the Minnesota Twins in the division series. That was a tremendous catch going back and to his right.
Bernie had his left knee operated on May 27th. He's had shoulder problems that go back to last year. Fine play. The ball with enough hang time to give Bernie a chance to get back under it. Good thing the wall is padded.
Bernie Williams, a guy who missed 42 games, had knee surgery. He has been bothered really by both shoulders, and it's really affected his throwing. But he is probably, according to Joe Torre, more sore with his shoulders than he is his knee, which was surgically repaired earlier this season. That pitch is low to Nomar Garciaparra. One out, nobody on. And that makes it 2-0. So I don't know if we have settled the issue as to whether that ball was fair or foul. I thought it missed the fan, and it hit off that foul pole down the right field line, which would make it a fair ball. And I get the feeling you two guys don't agree.
It was very close. I mean, the thing is, I mean, how did Tim McClellan reverse the call so easily? That's the thing that strikes me. I mean, he immediately called it fair. Joe Torre came out, argued a little. Angel Hernandez and Terry Kraft, the other two umpires down the right field line, said, well, you're right, we're wrong. Close. I thought there was a misdirect there somewhere.
I don't think it hit the pole. I think it hit his hand. Now, whether it was fair enough, fair or foul, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it hit the fan's hand.
Yeah, did he stick his hand out? If it did hit his hand, as Garciaparra goes down on strikes, that's a good split finger fastball there. But if it did hit his hand, did it hit it before it had a chance to hit the pole? It was very close.
So with 2 out and nobody on, here is Manny Ramirez. 1 for 2. He singled off Messina's glove in front of the 2-run home run by Ortiz back in the 4th.
That's an interesting ball hit by Walker at Fenway Park. It's probably fair by 5 feet, wrapping around that pesky pole.
Another look coming of that ball down the line. And that's low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. That is the pole.
That was a fair ball.
And even if it hit the hand in front of the pole,
yeah, you're right.
It's a fair ball.
That's right.
Here's one into right that's got a chance. At the wall, off the bat of Ramirez. A leap, and it's gone. A 2-homer inning for Boston, and they've doubled their lead. It's 4-0. A 3-homer game for the Red Sox against Messina, who gave up 21 during the regular season. Well, this is more like what people expected out of the Red Sox coming into the playoffs. This was a team that set major league records for extra base hits, total bases, and slugging percentage, breaking a record held by the 27 Yankees. And in the division series, they were shut down for the most part by that Oakland Athletic pitching staff. And it is a different story as Ortiz hammers one foul down the right field line.
What we were talking about earlier about that blue monster in right field. Everybody critical of the green monster in Boston. Balls just fire out of this ballpark. It's a bandbox. Yankee Stadium's a bandbox.
So with 2 out, nobody on, Ortiz, a swinging bunt, and Posada out to make the play. But 2 more runs for the Red Sox. The disputed home run. First pitch to Matsui, floats high for ball 1 from Wakefield. It's now 4-0 Boston. We're in the bottom of the 5th, and it will be Matsui, Boone, and Nick Johnson. Like a curveball. At least it had that effect, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. That's low, 2-1. Steve Palermo is an umpiring supervisor and is here representing the league. We'll hear from him after Matsui does something, talking about Todd Walker's 4th home run of this postseason, which ties a Red Sox record for a single postseason. Nomar hit 4 in 1999. That's hard hit, and there's Walker to his left. Had to wait for Millar to get to the bag, 1 out. Let's go down to Kenny Albert.
All right, Joe, I'm with supervisor of umpires Steve Palermo. Steve, tell us about the controversial home run.
Well, the ball was struck down the right field line, Kenny, and Angel Hernandez, the right field line umpire, saw the ball as being to the right of the foul pole. And we had a discussion in the locker room prior to the game that we want 12 eyes. We have 6 sets of eyes, all 12 eyes on anything that it looks like it could become controversial. And in this case, very, very close play down the right field line. Tim McClellan comes right away. He's 150% sure that that play needs to be overruled. He comes right away. They overrule. This way, and we've always stressed that we want to get the play right. And this way, it doesn't look like Tim is being coerced into something. He comes right away with it without any appeal from the opposing manager.
So the home plate umpire, Tim McClellan, made the call. Thanks, Steve. Joe.
All right, Kenny, thanks. And it's something that the NFL has done for years, and it's something that we've seen more and more of the past few years. Umpires willing to get together to get the call right. On 1-1. Boone pops it up into left center. Kapler, who's taken the place of the injured Johnny Damon, makes the play, 2 out. Who are the umpires that are with us tonight? It's Tim McClellan behind the plate. Terry Kraft, Alfonso Marquez, Darrell Cousins, Joe West, and Angel Hernandez is the one who called that ball foul initially.
I think the biggest difference as you look at that gentleman who touched the ball, or apparently touched the ball, the biggest difference is no fan can interfere with the ball in play like they can in baseball. Can't do it in football. Basketball, you're too far away. Hockey, they have the glass partition up.
With 2 out, nobody on, here's Nick Johnson. In for a strike, 1-1. Spike Lee in the NBA may interfere with the ball in play. He may be. Jack Nicholson, Diane Cannon. I know she's interfered. That's up and in. 2 balls and a strike on Nick Johnson. But your point is well taken nonetheless. Calvin Klein, I think he gets into the action. 2-1 pitch to the right side for Walker. And after his teammates tacked on 2 more, we move into the 6th inning, and Mike Messina back to the hill. This one's up the middle off the bat of Millar. Great range, good throw, but safe, as Nick Johnson could not dig it out.
Good strong throw, but too far to go and not enough time to do it.
Yeah, he ranged a long way for that ball.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Come on. What about the throw?
I'll tell you what, for that play and how far he went, that was a good throw.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's got to be the toughest throw you've got, isn't it?
It's probably the toughest one going away from the play. But that's when they talk about Soriano and moving in the outfield. When I've seen him play, I've seen him make a lot of just great plays like that because he's so athletic and he is so fast.
With 1 on, nobody out. First pitch is on the inside corner to Trot Nixon.
I think that play right there with Soriano going to his right proves what we were talking about earlier about how athletic he is and can be moved to center field next year, perhaps.
I think when you talk about second baseman, as far as sheer range, getting the balls, he can get to balls that, balls that no other guys can really get to, just because he is so quick.
That pitch misses as Suppan and Arroyo get loose.
You know, I make that play right there.
Oh, you make that play.
Okay.
Yeah, standing still.
Let's just get that straight.
Standing still.
I'm just kidding, sorry.
Suppan was added to the list before this round, as Byung-Hun Kim is not on this ALCS roster for the Boston Red Sox.
Nixon tries to hold up, but can't. A lot of times, if long relievers, guys who come into the first 3 innings, if they don't get in by the 5th, they figure they've got to get their throwing in. So I assume that's why Suppan and Arroyo were up. Then if it becomes an extra inning game and it goes to the 15th, one of the two would enter the game. One would and could enter the game.
Nixon pops it up on the infield for Jeter. 1 on, 1 out. So this Boston attack, which is 4 runs on 7 hits, has completely taken this big Yankee Stadium crowd out of it. Now Doug Mirabelli walks in with Millar at first, 1 out, Kapler on deck. Anybody surprised to see 2 guys warming up for the Red Sox out in their bullpen?
I think they're just throwing. I think they're getting their throwing in. I assume that. I said, you know, if they don't get in by the first 3 innings, then they go ahead and get their throwing in, and then if it's an extra inning ball game, they come back later. I mean, Wakefield's been too effective unless he's hurt. Nothing indicates why he should be hurt, though.
Hasn't broken a sweat yet.
No.
1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, no strikes on Mirabelli. That is down and in. 2-0. Seen a lot of 2-0 counts from Mike Mussina. He has fallen behind quite a few hitters and has paid the price, allowing 3 home runs this evening. Tomorrow it's Andy Pettitte. I don't know if he has ever gone through a stretch where he's thrown the ball any better, considering what he did in that game 2 against Minnesota. Jeter can't get to it. To his right, Mirabelli is on, and it's 2 on with 1 out for Boston here in the 6th.
It appeared to me that Derek Jeter dived over the ball then.
Yeah, ball went under his glove.
Of course, I don't guess he's in a position for the ball to go under his glove unless he does dive. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it, and you know, up here it looks, yeah, well, we see him make that play all the time, but when you commit to the dive, sometimes you overdo it, and you know, and you want to kick yourself when you get up. But when you commit to the dive, sometimes you just overdo it. It takes a little different hop on you, and something like that happens.
Kapler now is 0 for 2 tonight. He bats with 2 on and 1 out. Got that off the end of the bat. Bernie Williams hauls in out number 2. Runners hold. It's 1st and 2nd, 2 out. Let's check in again with Jeannie Zelasco for a game break.
Well, what are you thinking? Alex Gonzalez making noise in Chicago. You know Alex Gonzalez, the shortstop. Alex Gonzalez, the shortstop for the Cubs. Nothing the Marlins Alex Gonzalez can do about that one. 10-0 Chicago, bottom 5.
3 in the postseason, 2 in the NLCS for Gonzalez. And Joe Torre with Todd Walker coming up, who homered his last time up. It appears that Torrey's going to go to the bullpen. So a pitching change for the Yankees here in the 6th with 2 on and 2 out.
Commercial interruption by the next Ford F-150.
It's Felix Heredia coming out of the Yankee bullpen, and Todd Walker got a good rip at that first pitch from Heredia. As we mentioned earlier, Chris Hammond has been left off this ALCS roster, and the 2 lefties in the bullpen for the Yankees were added very late. Gabe White and Felix Heredia.
Reason for that is Chris Hammond is not deemed a guy who can get left-handers out consistently, but Heredia and White are. They're guys that throw hard and can run the ball in on the left-handed batters. Chris Hammond can't do that.
And this is a Boston lineup that features some pop from the left side. It's Millar at 2nd. Mirabelli on at first. 2 on, 2 out. 6th inning. 4-0 Boston here in game 1.0-2 pitch. Nick Johnson cradles it and decides finally to take it himself. That'll do it for the Red Sox. They strand 2. They have left 6. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-0 Boston. Tim Wakefield has pitched brilliantly as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. He has allowed the Yankees only 2 hits. And he misses high with ball 1. It's 4-0 Boston. Bullpen is quiet for the Red Sox. Juan Rivera takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Rivera the only strikeout tonight for Wakefield. Off the hands, back toward the backstop, and off the screen to make it 1-2. Dick Allen. He was a teammate of yours as well. I never worry about it. I just take my 3 swings and go sit on the bench.
There's more to that quote. Dick said by doing something other than that, he'd get in a slump. So he didn't want to slump. So he just went up, would swing 3 times, never come close to it, and that way he'd keep his swing in order.
Maybe he hit a home run on the 3rd swing. You never know.
He had a lot of them. 351 to be exact.
That's off the end of the bat. Shallow center. Kepler coming on. 1 out. Let's check in with Kenny Albert, who is in the upper deck.
Yes, Joe, high in the upper deck behind the foul pole. The teenager who made contact with the home run ball was sitting in this very seat. He was bombarded by reporters, so he left Yankee Stadium. His seatmate, Ed Hillel of Manhattan. Ed, what did you see?
The person that was sitting in the seat where you are leaned over slightly like this. Ball hit his hand and dropped down. If the ball didn't hit his hand, I think it would have just went right over here and everybody would have saw it was foul.
But in your view, after it hit his hand, did it glance off the foul pole?
No, went straight down after it hit his hand. Definitely a foul ball.
All right, thanks, Ed. You hear what the Yankee fans think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's the key. Absolutely not an objective report.
No.
In the least.
No.
Ed was confident that this ball clearly would have gone foul.
It would have been at least. That'd have been 10 to 12 feet foul, I think.
Easily.
Oh, yeah. In Ed's view.
In Ed's view.
All right, Ed.
There's Ed. I did it. I did it, guys. I did it. I told him it would have been foul.
I want to know how many 16-year-olds leave when they get reporters asking them questions.
Yeah.
It's time to shine.
Jeter on deck with 1 out, nobody on. Ed looked satisfied that he had told the story to the nation.
I think he's got to check the honesty policy.
Yeah. Not so sure it was true. 1-2 pitch.
Because we all know it is the policy.
With 2 out, nobody on.
Classic.
Jeter will come to the plate.
One more shot. Now check Ed out. Is that Ed right
Where's
there?
he looking?
I think that's Ed. That was Ed, wasn't it? So how does Ed know whether it's foul or not? Ed's behind the pole.
No, Ed was looking at the left field foul pole.
Oh.
Come on, Kenny.
Oh, Ed, how do you do it?
Great seats, huh, buddy?
With 2 out, nobody on. That's why that kid left. He got sick of the view. Looking at a yellow pole all game.
And Ed.
To third, caught by Miller. Signed Miller, knew they had signed a very good defensive third baseman. Kind of more in the category of a good contact hitter. Little did they know they would get a guy that would hit .326 with 19 home runs. 85 RBIs, a switch hitting third baseman, a very good glove man. They liked him so much they traded away Shea Hillenbrand during the season and got Byung-Hun Kim, who, by the way, got a huge ovation from the Yankee Stadium fans when he was introduced along the baseline before the game. With his history against the Yankees both this season and a couple of years ago in the World Series while with Arizona. And as we said, Kim, who was diagnosed with a sore shoulder, is not on the roster for Grady Little this round.
Yeah, it leads one to believe that were it not for the horrible experiences 2 years ago.
Miller hits it hard, but Jeter to his left throws it over to first. Tim, hold that thought. 11-1. Another pitching change here after Miller grounded out. With Nomar coming up, back to the bullpen. Go the Yankees. It's Nelson. In the upper deck didn't like the fact that somebody was wearing it, grabbed it and threw it down onto the screen. As Nomar Garciaparra bats with 1 out, nobody on here in the 7th. 4-0 Boston. Our Sprint Virtual Manager question: are dynasties good for baseball? Our answer: 69% of you said yes. 26-time world champions are the New York Yankees, down 4-0 in Game 1 of this ALCS. 1 ball, 1 strike. The numbers for Nelson, who started the season with you, Brett, in Seattle. You guys close? It sure sounds like it.
Jeff? Oh, sure. I play with Jeff a lot. What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
No, Nelly's a good guy, and he was a big part of our team for the last 3 years. And, you know, they made the trade actually at the 2nd deadline. He's in the postseason. I'm not.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Garciaparra takes a pitch inside, and really he was a guy, Tim, that they let walk away here a couple of years ago, and they just never found the right combination to fill in for him. So they went out and got him back, traded Armando Benitez to get him.
Got him back, but the problem he's had, he can't throw strikes.
Swinging bunt, tough play for Posada. Good play with Nick Johnson reaching over the top to make the put out at first. Back to Jeannie Zelasco for another game break.
All right, how many different ways can Tom Brenneman call a home run? His journalistic wares are being tested, because we got another one at Wrigley. Miguel Cabrera, last time the Marlins in the playoffs, he was in grade school where you learn to count to 12, and that's how many home runs we've had in this series.
Well, that's amazing. 2003 NLCS, 30 total runs scored, 45 combined hits, 27 for extra bases, 12 home runs, and 11-2 Chicago lead in the 6th inning. Manny Ramirez takes the ball high with 2 out, nobody on.
I've been thinking about a point that you brought up several innings ago, Joe, about whether to take Mark Pryor out of the game right now. An 11-2 game in the 6th inning. I mean, after all, Pryor's only going to pitch 1 more time for the Cubs if it goes to 6 or 7. And I would imagine it would be either game 5 or 6, 5 in Florida, or more likely game 6 back in Chicago.
And what do you think? No, you leave him in?
I think so. Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Ramirez takes ball 2.
I'm sure they'll go with the pitch count, 110 pitches or 115 pitches, and then remove him.
I mean, they're probably thinking, too, is there a big difference between 80 pitches or 110? They're still going to give him his 4 days.
Right, right.
I mean, there's one thing being 30 pitches and 100.
That's too far inside, 3-1. The only reason why I brought it up in the first place is he's a young guy, been over 100 pitches time after time. He had that long start against the Braves. You have a 9-run 6th inning lead. You can get him a little break, in my opinion. And I guess my opinion alone. 2 out, a base hit into right off the bat of Manny Ramirez, and David Ortiz will come to the plate against Jeff Nelson. Ortiz got the scoring started back in the 4th inning. An infield hit by Ramirez off Messina's glove. And then after being down 0-2, Ortiz worked it full and hit a home run to the front part of the upper deck into right field to make it 2-0. And solo shots by Walker and Ramirez and it's 4-0 thanks to the pitching of Tim Wakefield. Fastball for a strike to Ortiz.
How about the 3 hits in Manny Ramirez's last 3 at bats? You mentioned the pitch or the hit off of Mussina's glove, and then a wall scraper in right field. It came down just on the other side of the fence, and now a jam shot to right.
After going through that division series, he will take 3 hits.
Absolutely.
No matter the shape or form.
Sure.
1-1 on Ortiz. Bad hit Ortiz, and they will send David down to first with 2 on, 2 out, and bring Millar to the plate. So hit by a pitch to put 2 on.
That slider slid too far. It hits Ortiz in the back leg. Better view right here. Like you hit him right on top of the left foot. Out.
Stottlemyre will come out and talk to Nelson as his crowd gets on Ortiz, who still isn't down to first base.
Dogs are barking.
Woof. That was good. Comes Grady Little, and it's taking Ortiz so long to get down there. The trainer and Grady Little are going to come out and check on him. Although Grady says, well, I'll let my trainer go down there. I'll just stand here and talk to McClellan.
What a riveting series the Red Sox played in Oakland. They lose 2 to the Athletics, and then because of strange base running, they lose game 3 to the Red Sox. A great block of home by Jason Varitek. Trot Nixon wins game 3 with the home run. David Ortiz wins game 4 with the double in the 8th inning. And then the big hit by Manny Ramirez in game 5. And Oakland once again bites the dust for the 4th year in a row.
Here's Millar with 2 on, 2 out. And a strike on the outside corner. Grady Little is unsigned past this year. And if Grady Little has done anything, and I think he's accomplished a lot of things with the Red Sox.
Already, yep.
He has brought this group together. It was never a team known for the chemistry the last few years. And this is a team that has everybody believing in one another, pulling the same way. So the atmosphere that he has put together and helped foster down in the clubhouse and the dugout is, in my opinion, a big reason why they're still playing and the A's are at home watching. They didn't quit after falling down 2 games to none as Millar takes ball 1.
It's a completely different team than even 2 years ago as far as the atmosphere, how, you know, just you can see it, the aura that they have about them. It's a team that has fun, and it's just been on a heck of a run.
With 2 on, 2 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Millar. Left side, off the glove of Jeter. Here comes the runner to the plate. Ramirez no play, and it's 5-0 Boston in the 7th. Millar gets his first RBI of this postseason, and it comes on a base hit off Jeter's glove into left.
Derek Jeter separating his shoulder in the first game of the year, opening night in Toronto, and we've seen 2 plays tonight that if he doesn't make, he at least fields. He can keep that ball in front of him, but that left shoulder has got to be giving him problems, and it has throughout the second half of the season. Not an excuse, just a fact.
And now another pitching change for the Yankees, who hardly had to dip into their bullpen other than Rivera in the division series. Will use their 4th pitcher of the night. Nelson will give way to Gabe White. Gabe White, who was picked up from Cincinnati at the trade deadline, takes over and misses low and away with ball 1. When they picked up White, the Yankees picked up a pitcher that was on the disabled list with a groin injury. They knew he was on his way back, feeling better. They waited for him to get right, and he's been impressive. He has really impressed Joe Torre. As as that hits the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike on Trot Nixon. 2 on, 2 out, a run home, 5-0. Boston here in the 7th inning. Nixon tonight 1 for 2, grounds a base hit into right. They will bring Ortiz and now hold him late. And the bases are loaded with 2 out. Mike Covich came way down the line, and Red Rivera coming up with it and put the brakes on Ortiz to load the bases.
The reason the third base coach will do that is to see if the right fielder handles the ball cleanly. If he does, you stop Ortiz for 2 reasons. He's slow to begin with, and he was hit on the left foot with a pitch from Jeff Nelson. Once Rivera fields it cleanly, Ortiz will take the wide turn, but a very slow runner with a sore foot. So,
and the bases are loaded with 2 out for Mirabelli, who's 1 for 3. Strike 1 from White. So here are the Red Sox, who are on death's door after 2 games against the A's, especially in the fashion by which they lost game 1. They win 3 in a row against the A's, and now they are on their way, unless the Yankees rally, to a 4th victory in succession.
they have had 2 base runners in 6 innings tonight against Wakefield. Yeah, in that first game against the Twins, they just played shabby baseball, throwing the ball all over the plate, losing 3-1. But as this Yankee team has proven time and time again, they came back to beat the Twins. No contest in any of those 3 games.
It's 0-2 on Mirabelli. Still 0-2. Well, to me, if the Yankees have had a tough time replacing Jeff Nelson, they had to reacquire him. The guy they never did replace after letting him walk away to the Mets is Mike Stanton. They tried with Hammond. He's not even on the ALCS roster. They added Heredia and Gabe White late. 0-2 pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Stanton ended up signing with the Mets, but for so many years, the Stanton-Nelson tandem leading up to Mariano Rivera, it was very difficult for American League hitters.
Mendoza.
Miro Mendoza with the Red Sox now, but not on the 25-man roster.
Mirabelli hits one on 1 hop to the second baseman Soriano, and the inning is over, but not before the Red Sox come up with another. They are having fun in game 1. The house at Root built, trying to exercise some ghosts in this series. The knuckleball of Tim Wakefield has been dancing tonight. He's allowed only 2 hits through 6 innings. It was David Ortiz who got the scoring started. With a 3-2 pitch, he hit into the upper deck. The disputed home run, first called foul, then overruled by McClellan. Fair ball. It was 3-0. Manny Ramirez that same inning in the 5th made it 4-0. A run in the 7th. It's time to stretch. It's 5-0 Boston here in the Bronx.
I mean, it's second to none in all the sports, I believe, and it's fun. I mean, this is going to be a fun time. You know, everyone says, you know, we played them towards the end of the year. Does it get any bigger than that? Well, yeah, it does, and this is it.
And this is it. And so far, it's 5-0 Boston. Bottom of the 7th inning, and the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Yankees coming up: Giambi, Williams, and Posada. Well, if Suppan and Arroyo were warming earlier just to get some work in, the bullpen is serious and active and getting ready for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 7th. It's high for ball 1.
There is a big difference in pitchers warming up in the 5th inning, particularly when your team's way ahead, and warming up in the 7th. They mean business now.
That's in for a strike, even though Mirabelli didn't catch it, and the count 1-1. Giambi 4 out of 18 in the postseason. 2-1.
Surprised everybody. A fastball to Giambi.
Alan Embry and Mike Timlin getting loose. Three balls and a strike.
I would imagine he'll get another fastball. Good hitting situation right here.
A leadoff walk. A game break while we play in the bottom of the 7th. Back to Los Angeles.
And in the immortal words of Greg Maddux, chicks dig the long ball. So, ladies, we got more trouble in Chicago. Alex Gonzalez did the damage. Second of the game. 13 home runs in this series. 12-2 Cubs, bottom 7.
Jeannie, thanks. Here, this crowd is starting to climb into it with Bernie Williams at the plate. After the first walk of the night is issued by Wakefield to Giambi.
I think if you're sending Embry into the ball game, Grady Little looking at Dave Wallace, who took over for Tony Cloninger as a pitching coach in midseason. I think you send Mirabelli out there and talk to him.
3-0.
Yeah, you want to slow the game down. I mean, Embry's ready, but if you're going to bring him in to pitch to Posada, you want to make sure he's ready.
Two on, nobody out.
8 out of 9 balls, and that's going to be it for Tim Wakefield.
You've got the switch hitting Posada, followed by the left-handed hitting Matsui. And it'll be the lefty Embry. The Yankees making noise in the 7th, down by 5. Well, the Boston Red Sox could not have hoped for anything more out of Tim Wakefield. He allows no runs, 2 hits. But with a 5-0 lead, the first 2 hitters have reached on back-to-back walks, and here is Alan Embry. And he will turn Posada around and make him bat right-handed. With fans in New England holding their breath, Posada, who's 1 for 2, steps in. Into right center field, base hit. Kapler able to cut it off. 1 run scores. They're going to hold Williams at third and an RBI double by Posada.
Not only an RBI double to score 1, but to push Yankees to third and to second respectively. with nobody out. Fine play by Kapler to keep this ball from going to the wall. Giambi scores easily. Williams to third. Posada with a double. And the ghosts of Yankee Stadium come alive.
Terry, I've seen them. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like Yankee Stadium. I've seen those ghosts more than enough, more than my fair share.
Second and third, nobody out. Matsui takes the ball. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, is going to come out and talk to Embry, who is missing high.
Every pitch has been around the letters, even the one Posada hit.
Well, from game 3 on, the Boston bullpen in the division series against Oakland went 9 2/3 innings, allowed no runs on 2 hits. It's second and third with nobody out here in game 1. 5-1 Red Sox, 2-0 on Matsui. A little flare into left. Manny Ramirez will haul it in and flip it into third. It's a 5-2 game on a sac fly by Matsui. Now it's Aaron Boone.
Excuse me, Joe. There's a situation where if you're going to have them score a run, a sac fly to left field is not the worst thing that can happen because you kept the runner at second base.
Boone is 0 for 2. Runner at second, 1 out. The left-handed hitting Nick Johnson on deck. Ball 1.
You had second and third and nobody out, and you hit the ball to right field. You not only score the runner, but you move the runner from second to third base. Now Posada can't run, bottom of your screen. Williams does, but there's 1 out with a runner on at second base.
Two and 0. Aaron Boone is 3 out of 17 in the postseason. Two and 1. Boone hit 18 home runs in 106 games with the Reds and 6 home runs in 54 games with the Yankees. Shallow center. In comes Kapler. 2 out.
Oh boy, Gabe. I thought it was interesting, Gabe Kapler raising his right hand when nobody was around him. Perhaps thinking about the Damian Jackson collision the other night. Watch the right hand go out, and there's nobody around him.
Well, that's a big out for Embry. They kept him in there because of Nick Johnson, the left-handed hitting first baseman, being in the on-deck circle. And now the Red Sox get lefty on lefty here, as the Yankees have scored 2, trail by 3 in the 7th. One way or the other, this is most likely Alan Embry's last hitter of the night. Ball one.
Well, if Boston brings in the right-hander, you may see Ruben Sierra hitting with runners on. Sierra, a switch hitter, and can counter Grady Little, bringing in the right-hander.
One and one.
That was his best fastball since coming in.
Center field, tailing to Kepler, and the inning is over. The Yankees come up with two. Good work by Embry to limit the damage into the eighth. 5-2 Boston. We welcome you back to Yankee Stadium. Game one, 5-2 Boston as we move to the eighth inning. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Brett Boone with you. It's 11:01 on the scoreboard clock. Gabe White is back to the hill, and his first pitch is high to Gabe Kapler. Hitless tonight. Gabe to Gabe, and a fly ball into right field. Back is Rivera for out number one. Tonight's game summary is brought to you by Nissan. Great start by Tim Wakefield tonight for the Boston. And Ortiz and Ramirez have also gone deep. First pitch is high to the man who hit the home run, and Ed is an instant star.
All right, Ed.
Somebody's got to be telling him he's on. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2-0 the count.
Teenager leaves, Ed becomes a star.
The story at 11:30. We understand that he's doing a radio interview right now, so he is an instant star.
He's on roll.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Outside, 3-0. Mike, the Mad Dog, and Ed.
What's he saying? You know, I was just there, and you know, I happened to catch it out of the corner of my eye, and clearly a foul ball.
Here's a 3-0 pitch. It's a strike to Walker. On deck is Miller. It's 5-2 here in the eighth. 3-1. Up the middle, Todd Walker in that leadoff spot is homered and now singled tonight. 1 on, 1 out. Miller coming up. You've got Miller now, and then Garciaparra and Ramirez, and there is action for the Yankees in their bullpen as Jackson will pinch run for Walker. So they'll add to their defense and get maybe a touch more speed on the bases. Damian Jackson. Damian Jackson, who was part of that collision with Johnny Damon in center field, game 5 on Monday night, takes over, and then we'll go in and play second base. Contreras is getting loose for the Yankees in their bullpen.
Damian has a slight laceration over his right eye. And there's Contreras.
Contreras did not appear in that division series against Minnesota. That's low. Ball 1 to Miller.
It's interesting looking out at the Red Sox bullpen, and Juan Rivera leads it off the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th inning. I think Grady Little's going to perhaps send Embry back out there. And who would you rather face, Juan Rivera or Ruben Sierra?
1 on, 1 out. Miller takes strike 1. So Mike Timlin is ready. He is another big reason why the Red Sox advanced. The job he did out of the bullpen. And then Scott Williamson. Even today you read quotes by Grady Little, the manager of the Red Sox, saying we played 167 games and we still don't have a closer. The same situation we were coming out of spring training. Williamson right now, you would think, though, would be the guy until further notice, even though he walked the only 2 hitters he faced on Monday night in the 9th inning in Oakland. Our quiet Yankee Stadium waits for a 1-1 pitch. Jackson took off too soon. The throw down. He is out. 2 out. Caught stealing 1, 3, 4, or 6.
Yep, 4. Soriano, look at Nick Johnson. The throw is perfect. Throw's got to be on the inside part of the bag, and a second baseman gets inside in a situation like that.
Yep. So it is Soriano taking the throw. Perfect throw from Johnson. And it's 2 out, nobody on, with Miller waiting for a 1-1. Two and 1. If the Red Sox do hang on and win this, the Yankees will be asking pretty much the same out of Andy Pettitte, who goes in Game 2 tomorrow night. Same thing they asked of him in the division series against the Twins. Miller pops it up, and that will send us into the bottom of the 8th. It will be the number 9 man, Rivera, at least his spot due to lead off, then Soriano and Jeter. It's 5-2 Boston here in New York. Surprise on the mound for the most part, and then it's Mike Timlin.
I wouldn't have done this. I would have left Alan Embry in the game to pitch to Juan Rivera. And, you know, it may be a moot point if Sierra makes an out, but I'd rather see Embry pitch to Rivera if I'm a Red Sox fan than Timlin pitch to, or I beg your pardon, Embry pitch to.
Well, I think
right, that's right.
I think they're figuring they got a 3-run lead. Worst scenario is Ruben hits a home run. They still got a 2-run lead. I think if it was a different situation, they wouldn't want him up there with runners out there.
So that is the matchup. It's Timlin against Sierra, with Soriano and Jeter to follow. If anybody gets on in the inning, Giambi. 5-2 Boston, bottom of the 8th. And that good Mike Timlin fastball, 94 miles per hour for strike 1. There are the numbers for the much maligned bullpen for the Boston Red Sox. That missed the outside corner, 1-1. Something off, and the count's 1-2.
Sometimes what appears to be an off-speed pitch is just a fastball gripped tighter.
BP fastball.
Yeah.
Timlin has Sierra set up, and a line drive caught by Millar. 1 away. And even though he doesn't get on, Tim, your point is well taken. Ball hit hard, but right at Millar.
Yeah, a lot of things that managers have to think about. You're trying to play the probabilities as much as you can. Embry would have only faced Rivera anyway, because Timlin most certainly would have come out to face Soriano, and Joe Torre now out to talk to Tim McClellan. I think to check Timlin for something.
So whether this is gamesmanship or if there's something Maybe it's the necklace. Who knows? Timlin's getting a smile out of it.
He's allowed to wear that cap, by the way.
He is. That's regulation cap. Or whatever it was. I mean, that really wasn't much of a check.
Those pitchers, they all cheat.
That's, yeah. There you are. Back to that.
I'll tell you that. I don't like those guys.
With 1 out, nobody on. A fastball for a strike. Remember earlier in the year with Roger Clemens going after win number 300. The Boston Red Sox complained about that glove that Clemens said was issued by Major League Baseball that had that patch on it, commemorating win number 300 before he got it. A few weeks later, a few plane tickets later, a few luxury suites purchased later, Roger Clemens finally got it back here on a Friday night against St. Louis. Soriano chops it. It's 1-2. We go back in time. May 26th. Looking for win number 300. And Grady Little and the hitters thought it was distracting, so he took off the commemorative glove and got the old one. And didn't get the win. But whatever it was, Joe Torre went back and had a little chuckle about it. And Timlin didn't appear to be bothered by it at all. With 1 out, nobody on, a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. On 2-2. A high fastball, 2 out. Let's check in again with Jeannie, who's busy in Los Angeles.
Oh, yes. Mark Pryor, by the way, avoided the Roslyn police, but he could not avoid Dusty Baker. Get the kid Cubby out of there. He went 7, gave up 3 runs on 8 hits in his first LCS start. 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 116 pitches. I could go on, and I will. 11-1 since coming off the DL. Impressive. 12, 3 Cubbies, top 9.
Jeannie, thanks. Dave Veers took over. They're in the 9th inning, 12-3. So the Cubs on their way to evening that series at a game apiece before it goes to South Florida. Here's Jeter. Derek 0 for 3. That's high ball 1. With 2 out and the base is clear, there's more action for the Red Sox in their bullpen as Jeter pops it up. Right side, Millar gives it a look. More great work from Mike Timlin. He comes in and has a 1-2-3 8th inning. The Red Sox in the 9th will start it with Garciaparra. They lead the Yankees by 3. And dealing with Garciaparra, Ramirez, and Ortiz is Jose Contreras. First year, and it was actually the Yankees who outbid the Red Sox for his services, prompting Larry Lucchino, president of the Red Sox, to term the Yankees as the evil empire. That's where that started this year.
I think the Mariners were in on it too. We lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you get into a bidding war with the Yankees and they really want somebody, they're going to get it. And they got Contreras, and I think, Tim, if you're Joe Torre, you know, this is an opportunity to see a guy who didn't pitch in the division series,
right,
and see what you have. I mean, you've got spots available to try to get the ball in the hands of Rivera as this series wears on, and this is kind of an audition for Contreras.
That's one of the reasons for his effectiveness. That split finger fastball that is so elusive, darts one way and then another. There it was again.
And a quick and easy out as Garciaparra strikes out.
Wicked splitter from Contreras. After Larry Lucchino had said that the Yankees were the evil empire, and George Steinbrenner came back and fired the second salvo, saying that Larry Lucchino was a chameleon, saying that he was a chameleon because he changed colors being in San Diego.
Ramirez sticks the bat out and gets a base hit into right.
When he was in San Diego, of course, San Diego, a small market club. Boston Red Sox, a big market club. So George's point was that you can't be a small market guy and now all of a sudden come to a big market and take the other side.
Right.
One way or the other.
It's the other side of the quote, though, that you never hear is when he said, the Yankees are the evil empire and I want to be Princess Leia. That was the weird part. 1 on, 1 out, a base hit by Ramirez, and David Ortiz is at the plate. Dun, 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 dun.
I don't get into that upper management rigmarole.
Yeah, right. For a rebuttal, we will patch you into Seattle, where the brain trust of the Mariners have something to say. 1 ball, no strikes on David Ortiz, who hit a home run for the first runs of the night. Contreras made him look bad. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jose, 1 earned run in his last 17 innings pitched down the stretch. The action on that ball.
Yeah, as you can see, very little spin. That ball darting down in the out of the strike zone. Very few effective split finger fastballs are ever strikes.
I would say none.
With long, strong fingers right there. Woo. Mr. Splitty does what he wants it to do.
What he darn well pleases.
That's our Mr. Splitty.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Ortiz checks it. It squirts away, and Ramirez was ready to run. Good base running by Manny Ramirez, and he's down to second.
Very good base running. If you're not ready on the balls of your feet, body moving towards second base, pass ball is not the type that you would normally take an extra base.
It is a wild pitch, but Ramirez was ready, and now a hit could add to the lead. Ortiz strikes out, 2 out.
Before the game, I told Brett Boone, I said, I'm glad I'm here. If I had one choice, I'd want to be here. And Brett said, not me, I'd want to be down there.
I'd rather be on the field.
Absolutely, understandable too.
Well, Millar is at the plate with a runner at second, 2 out. You see the final at the bottom of your screen. So the series is tied 1-1, and it's Mark Pryor, second-year stud for the Cubs, who comes up with a victory. Home runs all over the place, and that series will go to South Florida for the weekend. By the way, as we said, coming up after the game, your late local news, except for those of you on the West Coast. Contreras digging after that ball in his glove.
It's working. He's going to another one.
Kind of an interesting shot, really. I mean, when you consider the Yankees had Timlin take off his hat for whatever reason before that last pitch, that ball was in his glove and he was digging on it.
But usually when they throw the split, they're going to dig on every pitch so it throws the hitter off. He's not going to just dig when he wants a split. He's going to dig on the fastball and just adjust the grip once he gets it in his glove.
On 1-1. Stays inside, 2 balls and a strike. I was going along the lines of scuffing it or something, doing something to the baseball.
I already told you.
They all
do it.
You're convinced?
No. But I'll tell you what, it's easier to get away with than a hitter.
2 balls and a strike.
Not if you're Sammy
Yeah,
Sosa.
see, I mean, that was just coming. That was right down 6th Avenue. Sosa went deep tonight for the Cubs. Who did? 2-2. We look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, and it will be the heart of the order.
This is the first time
Williams and Posada. This is your first look at Contreras?
This is the first time I've seen him, you know, especially live. We didn't face him all this year.
His 2-2 pitch. He struck out the side. So if that was an audition, he passed. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning of Game 1. It'll be the big bats coming up for the Yankees, who trail Boston by 3. It'll be Giambi, then Bernie Williams and Jorge Posada as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And I talked about the quote, guys, earlier from Grady Little saying we don't have a closer after 167 games. Well, if that's the case, it's interesting that Williamson is out on the mound right now as Robin Williams imploring this crowd to make some noise here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Well, I mean, from a Red Sox standpoint, if Timlin's throwing the ball as well as he would, why wouldn't he be allowed? He threw 11 pitches in retiring 3 pretty good hitters: Ruben Sierra, Alfonso Soriano, and Derek Jeter. And now you bring in Williamson. I mean, it's a little late to start establishing a closing pitcher, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Williamson is coming off that 9th inning, Game 5 in Oakland, when either tired or charged up, he walked the first 2 hitters and it threw it all on Lowe, who came in and did a phenomenal job to end the game and get the save. But there are the numbers combined with Cincinnati and Boston.
When Scott came in the game on Monday night, he was high with everything. Obviously, the Yankees watching that game, and I would imagine Giambi will take a strike in this at bat.
Williamson does not have a save, regular season or postseason, as a member of the Boston Red Sox. And against the heart of the order with a 3-run lead, here we go. With a big shift on in the infield. Ball 1 high. In for a strike. It's 1-1.
It's a good time for a bunt, isn't it?
Almost every time Giambi hits, it's a good time for a bunt.
Palmeiro.
The left side of the infield wide open. The Yankees need base runners, but I'm sure it's not even a thought. And a fastball is blown right by Giambi's bat. It's 1-2.
That's a pitch that Jason Giambi has not been handling for the last month. He cannot catch up to the high fastball.
Set up at 1-2. Something other than the high fastball, and it's still 1-2.
One of the reasons for that is you have to have a faster bat to hit the high fastball. The low fastball, you drop the bat head on it. The high fastball, you have to speed it up a yard.
On 1-2, Giambi takes ball 2. You would think Williamson would be doing Giambi a favor, giving him anything but that chest-high fastball.
I think so.
The Yankees looking for a spark. Still 2-2. If the Red Sox hang on and Wakefield gets the victory, it would be 11 years between postseason victories for Tim Wakefield, which is tied for 4th in the all-time list for the longest amount of time between postseason wins. You get the feeling we're a long way from that. 2-2 pitch. Giambi leading off, takes ball 3. Got him on the inside corner, 1 away.
That looked like a slider.
It was.
3 runs up and you throw a 3-2 slider. That gets a lot of left-handers. Man.
The only question was Mirabelli going to pop up and throw it into left field? He was going to throw it around the horn, look down there, and the only guy he was looking at was Manny Ramirez. His third baseman Miller was out by second base. Here's Bernie Williams with 1 out, nobody on. The Red Sox 2 outs away from a huge Game 1 victory, leading by 3. And a ball sinks low and away. Red Sox get on the board first. 2-run shot by Ortiz in the 4th. Solo home runs in the 5th. A single tally in the 7th to make it 5-0, 5-2 after 7. And now a 1-0 to Bernie Williams. As we play in the bottom of the 9th, it's 1-1. Williamson on 1-1. Hard hit right at Millar on 1 hop. 2 up, 2 down. A matchup between these two franchises and the rivalry that is among the fiercest in all of professional sports. The curse and everything else that's gone into it. Sold here for the 1920 season. The Yankees have gone on to win 26 world champions since then. And the Red Sox, of course, have not won one since 1918. They would love to eliminate that sentence here in 2003. It's uttered year after year, postseason after postseason, as a strike. Hits the inside corner to Posada. No doubt an advantage to New York getting the extra rest. Boston has to be worn out going coast to coast. Using Pedro Martinez, Derek Lowe in Game 5. Losing Johnny Damon in that collision, and yet here they are leading 5-2. 1 strike away from a victory here in Game 1. High and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Since '96, the Yankees have been involved in 5 LCS series, and they have lost a total of 7 games. A 1-2 pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, the Yankees have lost in the division series back in 1997 to Cleveland, and then last year to Anaheim.
With the bases empty, 2 out, a 2-2 pitch. Full count. Since divisional play began in 1969, the Yankees have been in the ALCS 10 times and have lost the ALCS only once to Kansas City in 1980. We have a long way to go in this series, but the Red Sox could take a huge step forward with a win here tonight. 3-2 pitch with 2 out, nobody on. Posada checks his swing. Foul ball, and it's still 3-2.
$1980, by the way, that was the year the Yankees won 103 regular season games. Dick Hauser, the manager, and he was fired after the season.
Another 3-2 pitch to Jorge Posada with 2 out in the 9th. Another foul. Wakefield gets the win. He'll be 3-3 in his career in the postseason. Messina staring at a 4-4 overall record in the postseason and an 0-2 record this year. It's Derek Lowe and Andy Pettit tomorrow night. And then Clemens and Pedro Martinez on Saturday. That is on the inside corner, and the Red Sox have taken game 1. Tim Wakefield going 6+ innings, allowing 2 runs on 2 hits, and the bullpen picks up where it left off from game 3 of the division series against Oakland on. Boston's won 4 in a row, and they win a big game 1 here in the Bronx.
Big pitching performance, Tim Wakefield, but Alan Embry coming on with runners on at second and third and allowing only 1 Yankee run, and that plugged the gap.
Yeah, I think you summed it up. I think, Timmy came out and did everything he was asked to do and more, and they got a couple big home runs with Ortiz, Manny, Walker.
And now a famous foul pole down the right field line. People are taking pictures with an inanimate object.
And Ed is still
kissing
there.
it.
And that's Big Ed still hanging out there.
Is Ed up there?
Oh.
No, he's hit it.
He's got Regis in the morning.
Regis and Kelly Ripa with Ed Hillel. Let's check in with Kenny Albert, who is down on the field. Kenny.
All right, thanks very much, Joe. Tim Wakefield, very superstitious, does not want to step on the ALCS logo. How gratifying for you, Tim? 11 years in between postseason victories. You were left off the ALCS roster 99 against the Yankees. How gratifying?
It's very gratifying. I just feel blessed to be a part of such a great team that we have, and to be able to start game 1 of one of the hugest rivalries that there is in baseball, and to come away victorious. Our team did a great job. Our offense came through, and it was unbelievable.
You guys have gone coast to coast now 4 times since the beginning of the postseason. Red-eye flight from Oakland. You landed 8 o'clock yesterday morning. Are you guys just going on adrenaline?
Yeah, I am anyway. Tell all my friends, don't call me tomorrow morning because I'm going to be sleeping in. So I'm just excited that we got this first game in and we won, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
You allowed only 2 hits. Did you get the sense the Yankees were getting frustrated by the knuckleball?
I don't know, maybe. I'm just trying to concentrate on getting the first out of every inning, and when that happens, it makes it a little easier, and my offense made it a lot easier for me tonight by scoring 5 runs off Moose.
All right, Tim, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tim Wakefield, the game 1 winner. Joe, back up to you.
All right, Kenny, thanks, and thanks for your help here tonight. My thanks to Brett Boone and Tim McCarver as they continue to look at that right field foul pole. That'll be here tomorrow night, and so will we. For Brett Boone, Tim McCarver, I'm Joe Buck. Coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on Fox, and the producer of today's game, Michael Weissman. The director is Bill Webb. Tape producer Aaron Stoikov, and as always, our thanks to Steve Horn assisting us here in the booth. The associate director, Kathy Hunt. The broadcast associates, Eric Billigmeyer and David Duvall. Jerry